Good morning. Welcome to Options Center. Want to do a quick video. We have a pretty good setup here after an impulse wave down, breaking trend and back testing here. So I want to show this. We're going to go through SPY, QQQ, IWM, and VIX fairly quick and leave it at that. Yeah. So if you're new here, go down to that bottom right-hand corner, hit that Options Center logo and subscribe. Like to do these videos as often as there's more information out. So we have information with Powell coming up at 12:10 Eastern Standard Time. I think this might be a catalyst to continue a move to the downside and continue our and get a reversal here from possibly today leading into tomorrow. So we have SPY. Let's start with SPY on the 65-minute. We have this large rising wedge, broke down from the wedge with a gap down yesterday, and we're back testing that wedge, trying to close the gap. I don't know if we'll get it there. Possible going into Powell. Very possible. And after looking at lower time frames, you know, I mentioned, and I still will keep this on a plate, that this is a 1-2-1-2 setup, but it simply just could be an impulse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where each wave was expanding to the downside. So that could be just a completed wave 1 here for wave 2. So let's on this traditional technical analysis, we have this nice support area. You see this consolidation zone. I'll kind of draw it out for you. This consolidation zone, we talk about it often on this channel. Let me highlight it. Okay, so you see this box here, we consolidated, and this was the breakout from the FOMC, from Powell speaking. So this is all we've done since then. I know some people criticize that we just keep going higher and whatnot, but we're actually just back testing that breakout at this point. So clearly we had support there. Also the options expected move for the week. And I think if we do get a reversal here, that our next spot is the bottom of the Our next target would be the bottom of this consolidation area. Once you get into a zone, it is pretty standard to visit the next part of the zone. So the bottom would be approximately 508. We'll call it 508.50. I have the support right around here where we have a prior resistance, support, support. So this is a good zone here on the lower time frames. This is 65-minute, by the way, and we use the 65-minute so we have equal number of candles per trading day. So this, in my mind, will be our first initial move here to the downside for a 1-2. And so let's go over to it's going to be a lot of information on this page. The Elliott wave pattern I have, where this is a wave 4, we get the wave 5 ending up here. And that ended with a cluster of time to price relationship here. Okay. So digging in even deeper with that cluster, we got our top. With this small cluster, we got our bottom yesterday. And with near-term projections, we have a huge cluster here on all sorts of relationships. Okay, so this is Friday, and we're going to pay close attention to what happens on Friday. So if we do get a reversal here at the retracement, I'm going to keep, first of all, I know I'm jumping around, the purple 1-2, that would just keep in mind, it's reminding me that this wave count could be a 1-2, 1-2, but being conservative, I'm going to consider this all one full wave here, a 1, and a pullback to a wave 2, and that pullback would be the 50 to 62% retracement. This is a golden zone, and we're right at that zone so far. So there's a little bit room to the upside if necessary. Want to close the gap, there's a 786 up there as well. Having a little bit of trouble, and I see why once we go to the other indices, why we're having a little bit of difficulty right here. So if we get our reversal here on Wednesday, this could be a nice sharp move going into Thursday and possibly bottoming out, let's call it, on Friday for the wave 3. And then not getting too far in the future, we have some other time to price ratios, or relationships that we'll be looking into later on. We'll make a new video. But my concern here is the target if we get our reversal from this point. So typically you get a wave 3 is a 162 extension from wave 1 to 2. Okay, so I drew the extension bar from the top, the all-time highs, to the bottom here where we got a reversal yesterday, and just kind of projecting that we get up to the 62%. If we reverse from the 50% right here, I'll adjust it, okay? But always keep in mind these are zones, so this just happens to fit perfectly the 62% extension right at the bottom of this consolidation area for our wave 4 that we marked here. So it looks like a nice area for that to get a bounce, a shallow bounce for a wave 4. That could be some sort of flat, it could be a triangle, a couple different items, but typically it would be about a 30 to 40% retracement. And then we'll resume to the downside probably early into next week. Okay, and that would be very convenient to get a bottom going into Monday into Tuesday for turnaround Tuesday. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking for. Nothing ever really works out exactly the way you want it, but with this really big cluster, we have like 6 different relationships here, 7. That's huge. So I think that we'll be looking to see where price is. If price is higher, then we'll be looking for a reversal on this relationship somewhere. If it's lower, we'll be looking for a reversal at that point lower. All right, so going on to QQQ. With the Qs, same thing. We have, let me make this a little bit brighter here so we can see it. That's our uptrend line here. Since we made new highs, we put this trend line at the new position here where that high started from. Okay, so that's our new trend line. We back tested directly to that trend line. We also have the opening position from last week. From Friday's close, the closing position. And so that's right in the same zone. You see we're getting our reversal off of there, and that is why again we're looking for the reversal to come from this point, which would be that 50% retracement right in that zone for SPY. Now the QQQ is a little bit weaker than SPY, so this is possibly still a 1-2 situation. So if we want to kind of have the relationships the same for SPY and for QQQ, then they're both in a 1-2 position. If not, then we'll work on that when we're near the lower parts, when we're getting our end of our wave 3 going into wave 4s and 5s. IWM. IWM is in a channel. We had this nice move to the upside, and now the momentum is kind of waning here, and all it did was have this. I'm gonna dive in here just a little bit. We're going to reverse off of, by the way, this downtrend line that we have here and the bottom of the channel, which can be moved up just a little bit, but we have a 5-wave move here. I thought that the 5 waves was done yesterday, which I still do, and I think this is an expanded flat here for an A, B going lower than the lows here, and C for impulse wave. That's why we had such a big move today. And that's going right into the options expected move, just shy of it, and back testing these gap areas. So we're getting a reverse off there so far. Again, that's what we've been looking for. SMH, So that's why we're looking kind of weak right at this point. Again, we have Powell in about 18 minutes here. And with SMH, this is just clear as day. We had an impulse move here. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 wave move down. And we had our bear pennant or bear flag where you had an A, B, C. It looks like a zigzag. And all we did was break down from that pennant and back test, and this should start leading the pack to the downside. So this would be our 1, 2, 1, 2 setup that we have here that we're reversing right off of this bear flag breakdown. So that is just about it. We're going to show VIX, and then we'll be done here. So you can go ahead and trade these setups. And this was huge because we had this massive move here, this consolidation type expanding megaphone, but it ended at this top right about here. So after this move is completed, we had our peak at this point. Now we have a corrective move to the downside, and I think that corrective move is done. That formed a falling wedge. So this was a rising kind of a 1-2 setup here. If you look at the overall picture, this was a sort of a expanding wedge that ended and now is correcting into a falling wedge. Broke out from the wedge yesterday, and all we're doing today is back testing with a flat pattern here, right back to the wedge. And I think that's enough said really with that. We're looking to get above this 1550 area, above there, and this move should start to accelerate a little bit more. So thanks for joining us here at Options Center. Hope this helps. Have a wonderful day.